Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing the same. Today I like to talk about two very distinct uh, words. I couldn't think of the word. uh, what George Carlin called soft language or euphemism. Now, there are two words. One is not really a euphemism, it really is a fact, but it's a word that Marxists have embraced and swallowed up in their agenda and manifesto and everything else. Okay. First, let's talk about one of the words, drag. Okay. Now, drag is a word that is being used a lot. Okay. And mostly by Marxists. Okay. Now, what is drag exactly? Okay. Well, from the looks of it, someone who is drag looks like a transvestite. So I would ask the question, can you please tell me, what's the difference between drag and transvestite? Can you tell me what the difference is? Because I think there's a difference between someone who is in drag and someone who's a transvestite. Okay? And when I think of drag, I think of, oh man, take a drag, man. Okay, guys, you be spinning the wheels in this drag race. Okay, well, the plane is descending and it's slowing down because of drag. So the air is pushing up against the wing, causing drag. Okay, don't drag your brother along the ground. Okay. It's kind of a drag when your baby don't love you. Kind of a drag when you know she's been untrue. Drag. What a drag. There goes the ant, racing off with the bag, causing the archer to say, "What a drag!" Okay. Drag. We're hearing them all the time. I think what we're seeing is a transvestite. But I would like someone to explain to me what the difference is between a drag, someone who's in drag, and someone who's a transvestite. Okay? So there's that word. Personally, I think it's transvestite. I think drag is a nicer word, even though it's a very downhearted, down, not darn, down-laden word. Because it's drag that pushes against the plane to slow it down. It's drag when you're inhaling in a cigarette or a joint. Okay? It's drag if you feel like, oh man, what a drag. It's, man, I'm down. I don't feel good. I'm not happy. Um, you know, so how can drag be a nicer word than transvestite? Transvestite! Hey, transvestite! They're big on transgender. What's wrong with transvestite? You got trans in there. They're very big on transgender, transracial. Do a lot of trans. They love trans. Give them a Trans Am, they're happy. Transcontinental, they're happy. You know, they love trans. Transmission, they're happy. Transmission, they're happy. They love trans. So what's wrong with transvestite? I don't see the problem. But anyway, there you go. Drag versus transvestite, I think they're one and the same. And I think that if they are in fact one and the same, we should call them out by the right word. Transvestite. I don't know when we started calling them drag. A drag queen. Well, we already know a drag is a transvestite. So what would the queen part be? Because, what? That the transvestite thinks he's a diva? It's like, oh, give me my coils. Give me all my jewelry. Oh, I am so above the commoner. Oh, what? Oh, I look down upon all the commoners down there because I'm a queen. I'm a diva. So what's drag queen? I don't get that. Alright, well anyway, that's that. There's that word. Now, pro-abortionists, pro-abortion people who like to be called pro-choice, too bad, you're pro-abortion. Period. Okay? Because guess what? You can choose to have protected sex. You can choose to take precautions. If you want us to be so big on choices, choose to use protection. If you don't want to get pregnant that badly that you would abort the child, and it is a child you're aborting, okay, then choose to take preventive measures so you don't get pregnant. Duh. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. It needs a couple of connected brain cells to understand this simple fact. Okay. Now. Okay. Okay. Now. I saw a video where a guy was talking to a woman in the woke Marxist community, and they were talking about abortions that took place in the community of people of color. Again, I will not use the word African American because that is racist. Okay? That's a racist term. Because that follows the old slogan, go back to Africa, okay? So that's why I don't like the term African American. Also, you have Northern Africa and Southern Africa, or South Africa and Northern Africa, like Libya, Egypt, Sudan. Those people don't look like Michael L. Jackson, or Michael Jackson for that matter. Samuel L. Jackson, I'm sorry, Samuel L. Jackson. Okay, North Africa, okay, people, Africans coming from Egypt and Sudan and Libya and Syria. Well, not so much Syria, okay, but those in the same continent of Africa. These countries are in Africa, okay? Libya, Egypt, Sudan, they are in the country of Africa. So we can say that people who live in Egypt and Syria, Libya and Egypt are Africa. And anybody coming to the United States from Egypt and Libya can be called African Americans. After all, they were from Africa and they came to America, so we call them African Americans. People come from South Africa, we call them African Americans. Okay, that's why I don't use the word African American. Okay, they're people of color. All right, and the liberals came up with that term, and that was one of the most brilliant terms that ever came out of that community. Okay, now, so he says children being killed in the mother's womb. And this woman of color said, please don't call them children. And the guy says, well, what do we call them then? Well, what else would you call them? And she says, call them, she says, they're called a fetus. And he said, do you know what fetus is? And she said, fetus is an embryo. No. The embryo is the first part of the developing stage of a person. Okay, the fetus is most of the pregnancy. But he said something that was really enlightening. He says, fetus comes from Latin, meaning offspring, which means baby. I was like, really? Aha! Now we got him. Now we finally got him in their not killing babies argument. Okay? So I wanted to check it out myself. So I did a little bit of research myself. So I looked up the dictionary. And the first thing it said in the definition of a fetus is offspring or child in development. Well, I don't know about child in development, but it did say offspring. But it didn't say anything about the etymology of the word. So I then said, okay, let me look up the etymology of fetus. And it said, hold on to your hats, folks. Hold on to your chairs. We now have the aha moment to use against these people. Okay? Fetus comes from the Latin feto, which means, you ready? I breed. B-R-E-E-D. I breed. libido, I breed. Now, if there's anything that screams offspring or baby, it is the verb I breed. So the mother is breeding. Okay? The mother is breeding to her offspring. She's a breeder. And even birthing person is stupid. Okay, that's a stupid term. Birthing person. Stupid. But breed, offspring. Replenishing the species. When you breed, when you're a breeder, the whole point of breeding is to produce offspring, children. That is the function of a breeder. We know this from animal veterinarians or animal people. And they have pedigree. That's the word. Pedigree dogs. And pedigree cats. So to keep the breed going, or and we even call them breeds. What breed of dog is that? Right? Because if it's a pedigree, that means a Boston Terrier mated with a Boston Terrier, and out comes a Boston Terrier. It isn't a mutt. It's another Boston Terrier. Then there's the talk about inbreeding, right? We've heard the word inbreeding, where you breed within the family. Incest is condemned because we are against inbreeding. Okay? We cannot have a brother and a sister, a mother and a son, or a father and a daughter to have children. That's called inbreeding. Again, breed, offspring, breed, inbreeding, breed, to breed, I breed children. That's what a fetus is. A fetus is an offspring where a mother is breeding her line of succession. That's the end of the line. That's the end of the breed. That's the end of my, there'll be nobody in the family. You can't inbreed. That's incest. You have to mate outside the family. Okay? And you have a child outside, not within the family. It has to be from somebody from a different family. That's how you breed. Produce offspring. Breed. That's what a fetus is. Offspring. A baby. A child. Soon to be an adult. So actually offspring covers all the years. Because it starts out as a baby, then goes to a toddler, then goes to an infant, then a child, a teen, and adult. But under all of that, it's still offspring.
You're saying she's made rape?
I am mom's offspring. And I was her baby. I was her offspring. I am her offspring. Okay? Life begins in conception. That's when life begins. Because it is the merging of the father's sperm to the mother's egg. The sperm fertilizes the egg, and from that union, life begins.
Did you ever get the sense that something really did happen to your daughter?
Artificial insemination, somebody still has to be the father. Even though there was no sexual intercourse. That's why they say immaculate conception in the Christian church. Because a woman got pregnant, Mary obviously, without there being sperm, without there being the father. And that's why they call it immaculate conception. Okay? The conception is when life begins. That has always been the case. So, there you go. Fetus, it's Latin for I breed. And what do you breed? Offspring. That's what a fetus is.
Did something happen to my sister?
A fetus is offspring. So in these pro-abortionists, and they say, don't call it a baby, well, that's what they are. That's what fetus means. I breed. And breeding is used when talking about offspring from the parents. So anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to cover. I guess I did what? 11 minutes of each word. Do a half and a half. Alright, anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. I'll see you later. Anything new that I learned, I will pass right on to you. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.